For more on this, Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger, he's a Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Let's get your take on this. Have you seen any of this evidence? I mean, in your mind, is there any doubt that Iran was behind it?
I've seen what you guys have seen, but I've heard that there's more that exists. There's no doubt to me. I mean, the people that are going to doubt are, the people that are being fed the Russian trolls on Twitter, the Iranian trolls on Twitter, the people that are in the Blame America First crowd, which we all know,
Can I read to you from one of them? You mentioned Russian, well, I won't call him a troll. He's the spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov. He said, such incidents can undermine the foundations of the world economy. That's why it's hardly possible to accept baseless accusations in this situation. We always urge a sober appraisal of the situation and to wait for more or less convincing evidence to appear. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think when it comes to Russia, typically whatever they say in something they have a vested interest like Iran, whatever they say, usually the opposite is true. Just look at the patterns in Venezuela, in Syria, in Ukraine. They claim they're not even in Ukraine. So this is standard for the Russians. If we have evidence, and I'm sure we do, I've heard that a lot of it exists, and we know it's Iran, then we need to just accept that because that's obviously the case. It's not going to be I hear false flag and everything else. So once that comes out, people are going to know, except for those that won't believe if anything stares them right in the face. And I think it's clear that we put this red line down that says, even if we don't respond to these last two attacks, this cannot keep going. Bottom line, Dana, is this is a failing country that's lashing out. They have only about 1/10 the oil exports they did. And a strong, confident country with a bright future does not attach mines to innocent oil carriers. That's desperate countries that do that.
They've announced that they will forego, they're not even going to try to pretend to be a part of the nuclear deal from 2015. And in some ways, I think Iran is trying to show its capacity to disrupt international markets without actually having the United States and Israel launch a direct attack against them to have sort of muddy the waters. It feels like they're going right back to where they were.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate way to say it. We have to keep in mind that they've been disrupting the international order even with the Iran nuclear deal. Again, you look at Syria, look at Iraq, look everywhere else. And in fact, we're seeing their investments in other countries and their forays in other countries has actually receded a lot when this nuclear deal came off because it's dried up their funding to do that. So I think right now it's going to take some patience. Understand that they're obviously very desperate. They're going to go up to provoking the United States, but they don't want to actually provoke us into military action.
Congress
so this is going to be a lot more of these games.
Is it your opinion that the president needs to come to Congress before he would take any action if it were to come to that?
No, I don't think so. I think Congress's job is to declare if a state of war exists and to finance it. That's according to the Constitution. The president makes these kind of micro decisions, even if it's something, according to the War Powers Act, basically he has 60 days after he acts to inform Congress. So, no, I don't think every military action needs to come to Congress because nothing would ever get done when national interest was at stake.
Can I ask you about just one other thing? It was an international relations story this weekend in the New York Times. This is where you had David Sanger, the reporter there, saying that the United States, that our military has been putting some sort of malware into the electric grid of the Russians. Listen to Michael McCall. He was on the Sunday show talking about this.
I think we are stepping up our attacks on Russia, and we should. And in this disinformation campaign in the 2016 election, I got briefed in the Gang of Eight in October of 2016. I think it's a little I don't know who leaked this story. It's more in the classified space. So I think it's irresponsible, though, to leak that and have the New York Times print this.
There was maybe a little bit of a preview. Listen to John Bolton, the president's national security advisor from last week.
The purpose of which is to say to Russia or anybody else that's engaged in cyber operations against us, you will pay a price if we find that you're doing this.
Your thoughts about obviously it's uncomfortable, I think, to talk about national security matters that are classified, but this was out in the New York Times, and you're a congressman there on the Foreign Relations Committee. Your thoughts?
Well, obviously, I can't confirm or deny any of that, but I will say this. Who would leak this? I think this is an attempt, if it's true, to embarrass the president or try to get him to react. But in generalities,
he said that it was fake news.
Yeah, in generalities, we absolutely do need to be on the offense against Russia because of what they're doing to us, both discrediting our election system, creating chaos, doing it with our Eastern European allies. And they need to know whether this story is true or not. They need to know that the United States is on offense and will protect our allies. And basically anything they do to us, we can do to them multiple times over again. And maybe we'll actually stop doing all this.
All right, Adam Kinzinger, thank you.